Good morning. Thank you for being part of our webinar today on 50 years of magic at Walt Disney World. Hard to believe that it's been 50 amazing years. So we want you to make your next vacation magical with an enchanting getaway to Walt Disney World. Embark on a journey through renowned parks and attractions, from admiring the glow of the Magic Kingdom, dazzling Cinderella Castle, to experiencing the thrill of the iconic rides of Disney Hollywood Studios. With us today is one of our magic maker, Felicia Troy, who's a AAA Northeast Magic Maker Travel Advisor. And we also have Kathy Pomalis. She's a travel advisor from our New York Smithtown branch, who is bilingual, speaking both Spanish and English. During the presentation, we have a slide that will show you both Felicia and Kathy's contact information. We will have time at the end of the presentations for questions and answers. Use the chat button to enter your questions, and we'd be more than happy to answer them. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Felicia now, who will share her expertise on how Disney is celebrating the 50th anniversary, what's new at Disney, and where to stay, and what to know, most importantly, before you go. There's a lot of homework there. Felicia?
Thank you so much. I am so excited. I have to start off by saying that I apologize if I start saying too much. I could talk about Disney for days. So we will buckle up, kind of go through a brief overview of everything you might want to know, but feel free to always reach out to a magic maker after this, and we are happy to help you with more details and kind of get into the nitty-gritty of things that might be best for your trip. So next slide. So the 50th celebration, it is so exciting. I remember being in the park for the 25th. It seems nearly impossible that we are already at 50. Time surely does fly, but they've added so many amazing things to the parks to really make the celebration great. Two of my favorite things that they've added to the parks is their nighttime spectaculars. They are more than fireworks shows. They include music and lighting and projections. They have Harmonious, which is in Epcot, and then Enchantment, which is in Magic Kingdom. Both have their own kind of flavor. Harmonious takes classic Disney songs and revamps them in their native languages, which is something that's really, really special and a great moment to share with your kids when you go on the trip. Next is the Fab 50 character collection, which is essentially 50 golden statues of some of your favorite Disney characters. One of the things that I love about this is you can kind of make it a fun scavenger hunt with the kids. You can kind of run throughout the parks, who can find which character first. One of my favorite kind of hidden characters is Abu from Aladdin. If you can find him, he's in a kind of a fun spot. So let me know if you find him. Another thing that they've added is Beacons of Magic, which essentially transforms the four main park icons into some iridescent magic. My favorite being the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom. Get some enchanted fireflies at the end of the day. Be sure to try to check those out if you're in the park at night. Another thing that they've brought back that they used to have and then kind of cut out for a couple years, but it's returned, is Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair, which is a stage show right in front of Cinderella's castle. It includes so many amazing characters. Mickey brings along friends like Elsa and Anna and Olaf, which is some of my favorites. Frozen is one of my favorite movies. And lastly, they have added tons, I think over 150 different foods to the parks to celebrate the 50th anniversary. So they have things like iridescent lemonades and some of Walt Disney's favorites, like his chili, using old recipes that he used. So be sure, they're always adding different things. So before you go, I always recommend kind of checking out what they've added so you can try all the different bites. They recently had some food that was basically named after my favorite ride, which was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I miss it. I wish it was still there, but you get some foods that are reminiscent of that. Next slide. So now what's new? What's new on top of all the new that is 50th anniversary? One of the most exciting additions to the park, at least for me, who loves the thrill ride, is the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. It is a indoor coaster, and it has the first ever reverse launch for Disney. So it seems like it will be really great. It apparently rotates 360 degrees in the ride to really keep you in the action. It opens in May, so hopefully we'll be trying it soon. I do go in May, but who knows if I will be able to get on the ride. If not, I'm definitely trying it when I go in October. So I will give you a review as soon as I have it. The next is we have parades back, which is so exciting. I feel like we've really missed parades for a little bit, and having that back, we have the Festival of Fantasy Parade that returned to Magic Kingdom this month, actually, and has all of your favorites from Tangled to Peter Pan. My absolute favorite is Flynn Rider from Tangled. He swings on a swinging axe on the float. It's really cool, and I definitely don't have that level of coordination, but they do. They're amazing. These characters are awesome. The next is actually an addition from 2020 and everything that happened is the cavalcades and the pop-up characters. They did not have any of this before 2020, and I think it's a welcome addition. I absolutely love the cavalcades. Some of them are scheduled, so they give you kind of times when they're running, and some are just pop up. You know when it's coming, and then all of a sudden you see Goofy on his float riding down Main Street, and you're like, hey, there's my pal, and it's totally spontaneous, and it really adds to that level of magic to your trip. Another would be the pop-up characters. I remember walking to the Figment ride in Epcot, and I looked over and there was like nobody around, and there was Winnie the Pooh catching butterflies with a butterfly net. And it was just that little magical moment. We got a picture 6 feet away, of course, with him, and we kind of got to interact where there wasn't that big of a crowd. And that's the nice part about the pop-up characters, is they don't always have immediate crowds because you don't know where they're going to come, so it gives easier interactions with the characters. The next is the best thing for Star Wars fans ever. So if you are a Star Wars fan, I'm sure this is on your list. It's the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. It's hard to describe because I don't think something actually exists that is like it. It is a 2-night immersive experience. You are put into a Star Wars story, and it is truly a make your own adventure. You can interact with cast members and characters, and it will evolve as you go. It will include food, it will include entrance into Hollywood studios, and it is just so much more than just 2 nights at a hotel. I've heard feedback that depending on who you interact with and what you do, you will be given secret missions and try to accomplish different goals. So everyone's experience will be different and unique to them. So it's definitely a must try if you love Star Wars. Next is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which is another 4D experience in Epcot. It is a ride where you shrink down to the size of Remy, who is a little rat from the movie Ratatouille, and you get to kind of see the world through his eyes. It is so cute for families. I absolutely love it. And then keep going with Epcot, because Epcot added a lot this year, is the restaurant Space 220, which you get to go 220 miles up into space and have your meal amongst the stars. You will take a space elevator that takes you up. You will literally get a bird's eye view of Epcot as you go up to dine. And when you are dining, it will be based off the time of day. So if it is sunlight or dark, you'll get that atmosphere depending on the time of day. It's actually really cool. You'll see sunrise and sunset depending on timing. So definitely a must do if you are into that type of space environment, or you just want to try something new and different. I don't know that any other restaurant does something like that, so super cool to try. And lastly is in addition to Animal Kingdom, a show called Kite Tales. There are 2 different versions of the show. There is a Lion King version and there's a Jungle Book version. Both are super cute. It's done in the amphitheater. And I think you just have to go to experience the fun of it. They have these giant kites flying through the air, and it's amazing how they do it. Most of them, they use jet skis. It's actually super, super cool, super fun, and something different. You can kind of relax and watch a show for a little bit, amongst the busy day of walking. Next slide.
Hey, Patty, I think you need to unmute yourself.
How amazing, Felicia. 2 of my favorite movies, Disney movies, are Frozen and also Ratatouille. I just love both of them. And I love the idea of the pop-up characters. And the Winnie the Pooh, definitely a special moment.
Yes.
I mean, you really add a lot where you can really visualize what you see when you're there. So how many times have you been there?
Oh, I'm not actually, I don't have a count a lot. I love it. It is my happy place. I've been going since I was 3. So yes, a lot of times. And I've seen a lot of different things, but it's definitely the most special now that I bring my son. Now bringing my son with us is just, it's the best feeling in the
It
world.
has to be magical.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. So next, I think one of the biggest decisions you make when you do a Disney trip is where to stay. There are so many options and so many different ways you can do it. And so that's where a AAA Magic Maker definitely comes in to help. We can give you all sorts of advice of different budget points and different locations and try to fit it best to you. One thing that I really enjoy is staying at a Disney resort. I like the things that come along with a Disney resort. I like being inside of kind of quote unquote the Disney bubble. So when you stay at a Disney resort, there are different perks that you can get. One of the biggest perks that people enjoy is the early entrance. You'll get a half-hour early entrance into each park each day before any off-site or local guests get to enter. This is a huge help with some of the more popular rides. You can get, in line for them and have shorter lines if you get in that early park hour. And then another perk for only deluxe resorts is they also get after hours options. Usually it's about 2 times each week. They'll open up Epcot and Magic Kingdom for an additional 2 hours for those deluxe resort guests, and the lines tend to be extremely low on that. So if you are a deluxe resort guest, it's very helpful. And they do put out a schedule about 60 days prior to the trip so you can see which parks are open on which days. The next benefit is you'll get your dining window to make dining reservations for your whole trip at the 60th day prior to your trip for up to 10 days. This means you'll have easier access to a lot of those popular restaurants like Space 220 that I mentioned. You'll have a better chance essentially at making that reservation because you'll be able to make it out further. Offsite guests can only make their reservations on the 60th day of each day. They don't get to do their whole trip on that first day. Next is my favorite perk. It's honestly what I stay on site for, is consistent transportation to all the parks. I do not like to think about how I'm getting to each park. I just want to wake up in the morning, get to my bus, get to my monorail, get to my Skyliner, whatever it is, and get to my park. Having to deal with parking and driving there and traffic is just too much for me. I don't like it. And especially with Orlando, if you ever go there, they tend to do road construction all the time. And they're switching roads and going, and I get lost. So I am the queen of jumping on the bus and being dropped right at the front of Magic Kingdom and being happy as ever. So definitely consistent transportation. And the last is a very, very new addition. You get to make your individual selection attraction, which is an attraction separate from Genie Plus at 7 a.m. Offsite guests cannot make those picks until park open. So a lot of times the rides do sell out before offsite guests even get to have a chance at them. So essentially, when you're working with a Magic Maker and we're trying to decide where to stay, our biggest 2 factors are location. We want to find the best spot for you, for your family, within your budget, and make sure that you're near the things that you want to be near. And then also, what forms of transportation do you use? Some people really want the monorail, or some people really want the Skyliner. And so we can kind of go over which resorts have which transportation and which locations to pinpoint you for your best option. Next slide.
Wow, Felicia, that is exciting. It really pays to stay on site. I can see that now.
Yeah, definitely. So now that Disney has kind of changed a lot since most people have gone, there is a lot to know before you go, which is why working with someone is actually so helpful, because we are basically your best friend through the trip. We try to make sure that all of your pieces are in line. We can check through your My Disney experience to make sure you have all the different parts of your trip done before you get there so you don't run into any glitches. The biggest thing to remember before you go on your trip is you need park reservations in addition to your actual ticket. That means you need to select which parks you're going to prior to your arrival. You're going to select the first park of each day, and then if there's availability and you need to change it, you can cancel and change it. But they do fill up. So essentially this week in March, if you look at the availability calendar, they're full. You can't get a park reservation. So that means you wouldn't be able to enter into a park. So it's so important that you get your tickets or book your package and make your park reservations early so you get your shot at exactly what you're looking to do. The next is making dining reservations, which I touched upon 60 days prior. And as magic makers, we give all sorts of advice on different restaurants, what you might like, what character restaurants there are. We're happy to give advice or even help make reservations if you need that. Next, they've added Genie, which is the free service, not to be confused with Genie Plus, which is the paid service. The actual Genie service is awesome. It just helps personalize your day. You pick the things you like and you add them to your list, and then it gives suggestions on things you should do, a potential itinerary, maybe a restaurant you might like, and it kind of organizes it for you because it can be quite overwhelming to be in the parks with so many different options. So Genie will help you kind of navigate through that. And then on top of Genie would be that Genie Plus, which is $15 per ticket per day, and it is the replacement of the Fast Pass system that we once knew. Essentially, you will get to skip the line one ride at a time with this system, and you will book that ride on the day you go to the park. It is no longer booked before you go like the Fast Pass system was. Along with that is that individual attraction selection, which I mentioned before, that on-site guests get to pick at 7 a.m., but essentially it is either one or two of the major rides in the park that you will get to purchase separate from Genie Plus. It'll be an additional cost and you'll get to skip the line one time on that ride. Most popular being Rise of the Resistance. Most people do buy that ride and it does sell out quickly, so it's a huge perk of on-site guests if you are very interested in doing that particular ride. And then the next two things are not necessary, but I love them both. Magic bands, you don't necessarily need them. Your phone in the app can do everything that a magic band can do. I just find it wildly more convenient. Your magic band can be your room key, it can be your credit card, it can be your park ticket, it can scan for Genie Plus. It just does so much, especially for on-site guests, that I prefer to have it. That being said, totally your choice. It's also a fun souvenir. Some kids absolutely love just having the bracelet and scanning and doing all that. I know my son absolutely enjoys it. And then the one thing that I recommend to anyone doing like a first Disney trip or something with a lot like of meaning, like an anniversary, a birthday, honeymoon, is Memory Maker. Memory Maker adds so much to the trip. You get all your park photos, you get the ride photos, and you don't have to go up to strangers in the park and ask them to take your picture. There are Disney photographers there. They will take your picture. It goes right to your phone, and then you can immediately upload it to Facebook or Instagram or whatever you want to do with it. It's all set for you, and you didn't have to hand someone off your phone or try to find someone in the park. Disney has it for you. So I think Memory Maker is worth it, but obviously don't need to have it, but it's just a nice add-on. Next slide.
So many things that you can sign up in advance to really make the trip seamless. I mean, it's amazing how much advance work you can do. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn it over to Kathy, and she's just going to share all the important information that Felicia just described about what you should do ahead of time. Go ahead, Kathy.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros hoy con la AAA. Mi nombre es Katy y les quería hablar de cuando vayan a Disney World, que cuando compren sus pases tienen que hacer reservaciones antes de llegar a los parques. Si no hacen sus reservaciones, no van a poder entrar a los parques. Casi siempre enseguida que compren sus tickets, hagan las reservaciones en My Disney Experience y ahí podrían hacer todas sus reservaciones para cada parque individualmente. Pueden cambiarlo si quieren o si hay espacio en cada uno. También pueden hacer reservaciones para los restaurantes. Casi siempre son 60 días antes de llegar a los parques. Ahí podrían escoger cualquier restaurante que ustedes quisieran. Si necesitan ayuda con hacer sus reservaciones, también nosotros podemos ayudarlos. Si siempre pueden llamarnos a la AAA. Y también tienen el servicio de Genie, que pueden usarlo, es gratis. Ahí le va a dar toda la información que ustedes pueden escoger para ir a cada día. Lo pueden bajar la aplicación en su teléfono. También tienen el Genie Plus, que eso es otro servicio que tienen, que antes tenían, que era el Skip the Line. Entonces ahí pueden hacer eso, pueden pagar por los $15. También tienen otras posiciones que pueden pagar y es extra que para las rides que son más importantes que ustedes quisieran hacer, pues entonces pagan un poquito más para eso, casi siempre suena como de 9 a 11 dólares por persona. Lo pueden hacer por las mañanas a las 7 de la mañana, que pueden hacer esas reservaciones a cada parque que van a ir. Es bien fácil, si necesitan ayuda con eso, nosotros estamos aquí para ayudarle. También tienen la Magic Band, que también lo pueden usar. Eso es para entrar a cada parque, si quieren pagar para cualquier restaurante o cualquier tienda y usted esté en el parque, también pueden usar ese. Para cuando se quedan en su habitación, pueden abrir la puerta con el Magic Band. Pueden hacer muchas cosas con eso. Y también tienen el Memory Maker, que ahí le puede conseguir todas las fotos que vayan, o sea en el parque, o sea en los restaurantes, en cualquier parte de Disney. Ustedes lo pueden usar y son, cuando se vaya a la casa, usted escoge cualquier foto que crean que le guste, o si las quieren todas, pues las pueden bajar también. Si necesitan cualquier cosa, por favor, llámenos. Nosotros estamos aquí para ayudarle. Cualquier cosa que necesiten, por favor, llámenos. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I appreciate that very much. So we're going to turn it back over to Felicia. Go ahead, Felicia. Tell us about the wonderful Travel Visit Orlando travel event coming up.
Yeah, so the one awesome thing about AAA is we're always running some promotion, some show. You should always check with AAA when you're booking a trip because you never know what you might get. This is an awesome benefit for anyone looking to do a Disney trip, a Universal trip, anything to Orlando. We are running it on March 26th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be a bunch of magic makers on ready to help you. I know I'll be there, working it. It's all virtual, so you can feel free to email us, call us. We can make virtual appointments if you like to do something like this where we're on video, and we're here to help. And not only do you get our expertise booking these awesome packages, these experiences, but you could earn up to $400 cash back at the time of departure, future travel credit. You can get Disney gift cards, Universal gift cards, credit to book other tickets. So there are just so many additional perks you can get on that day. So if you are considering Disney for the next, say, through the next year, the end of 2022, I would look on March 26th and see what you can do, because there are a lot of awesome benefits to just booking that day. And we are here to help. We want to help, and we're excited to see you and help you plan your magical trip. Next slide. So just want to end it saying, we are here, we are ready to assist. AAA wants to help. We have a team of amazing magic makers that I work with every single day. We are constantly updated on everything new. We are chatting with each other, finding all the different benefits, perks, whatever we can do for you, whatever new information we can find, we're working together. We are an amazing team. Feel free to go to AAA.com/magicmakers. You will see all our information. You can select appointments. We can do phone, email, in-person meetings if you're in our areas. So there are so many ways that we can assist you. So feel free, don't hesitate to reach out. We get so excited. I know I love helping people plan their trips. It makes me so happy. I feel like I'm going on the trip with you. I want to help you plan your dining, and I want to help you map out the parks. So feel free to reach out. We are here, we are ready, and we can't wait to assist.
Excitement and your enthusiasm is unbelievable. Thank you so much, Felicia, for so much valuable information that you provided during the slide presentation today. I'm ready to pick up the phone and make my reservation with you immediately. As mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we have Kathy, who just spoke, to give you a little bit of tidbits of what you should do ahead of time. She's a travel advisor who is bilingual in both Spanish and English. And Kathy would like to introduce herself and provide you with her contact information in Spanish.
Gracias, Cari.
So you have it right there in front of you. Go ahead.
Sí. Aquí tenemos mi información para cualquier persona que quiera comunicarse conmigo. Ahí está mi teléfono y también está mi electrónico información también para cualquier cosa que necesiten. Por favor, llámenos. Estamos aquí para ayudarles. Gracias.
Thank you, Kathy. We are now going to open the chat lines for questions some may have. I know I just did receive one question. Does Disney still offer meal plans?
This is my most popular question. I think I get it at least 5 times a day. Unfortunately, meal plans are suspended right now, but they did tell us they will come back at some point. I always tell my members when they book with me, I'm tracking all the new things that Disney does. So if they book and say they book for October, if the meal plans come out in August, I will let them know. We can always add it onto their trip. But right now, they are suspended. We can always add it later when they do come out, and obviously give them all the pricing and options.
Right. Oh, look at Ratatouille there. Mark sharing some of his slides. That's beautiful. Next. Okay. In closing, I want to remind you, I don't have any questions at this time, but in closing, I want to remind you to connect with the AAA Northeast Magic Maker or travel advisor to take advantage of exclusion member deals when you plan your next Walt Disney World vacation. Wow, Mark, that is really neat. Thank you, Felicia, Kathy, and Mark for sharing your knowledge and experience and expertise with everyone. I would also like to thank Janet Brown, Shawnee Jarvis, and Mark, my coworkers who make these webinars possible. Oh, I love that one. And thank you to our viewers for taking the time out of your busy day to listen. This webinar will be posted on AAA Facebook page and also on AAA YouTube. Please, everyone, be safe out there and enjoy the extra hour of daylight. From AAA Northeast, I'm Patty Artesta, Regional Director of AAA Northeast Public and Government Affairs. Thank you again and have a good day.